All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today as we dive into focusing on how to enhance member engagement with the Outlook integration, also known as iEmail Cloud, as well as our texting solution, Text Manager. I'm JT Fiedler. I'm the product and sales advisor here at CSI, and I'm joined by two colleagues of mine, Doug Morris, who is the founder and chief product officer, and Elizabeth Wojcik, who is the Director of Business Development here at CSI. So with that, let's dive into things.
All right, we were talking about this yesterday. iEmail Cloud, iEmail is one of our oldest products. It was created way back when, before you could email from IMIS. And I had a client say to me, hey, how do I email a committee? And believe it or not, people still quite use it for that a lot. And we're going to show you a real interesting way to do that. But iEmail Cloud is your integration between Outlook and IMIS. And we thought we'd start with a quick poll here, two to be exact. JT, let's start with some audience polls.
All right. Go ahead and launch the first one.
So we really want to know, are you using Outlook right now? I'm really curious how many people click on that first one.
The results are gonna.
Please be honest. Please be honest.
All right. I'll close the poll in 3, 2, 1.
I'm dying to see this. Loving the honesty there. Loving the honesty. Wait, hold on, JT. We got to get a screenshot of that. Elizabeth, were you in charge of that, or was that me? Got it. Okay. All right, let's do one more poll. That was fun.
All right. Second poll. Let's go ahead, launch it.
Not as much fun as the first one.
Right. I'll end it in 3, 2, 1. All right.
All right. Interesting. Very interesting. Oh, send and receive. Okay, cool. We got to get the screenshot of that too. Love it. All right. Well, thanks everyone. We're going to ask Elizabeth Wojcik to step in here for a minute. As you know, Elizabeth, if you've run into her, she's done a lot of IMIS training. She does head up our business development here, but also does quite a bit of consulting with CSI. So we were working with her on this presentation. She said, this is more than just a product. There's a lot of thought that needs to go into this, and that's the most important part. So Elizabeth, take it away.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Being on the consulting side and working with clients and even being on the client side before, iEmail is one of the CSI products that I'm like, you just got to see that value and got to see the full length of where you can take this product. So when I was talking to Doug and JT about, kind of the value of iEmail that you need to kind of understand before we can see like what it can do is just kind of reflect on your current processes. So several of you said, I'm talking to members and donors. When we correspond with donors, do you think it would be helpful, as opposed to CCing everybody in the company, would it be helpful for other staff members to see that email correspondence in IMIS so they can see somebody's record and see, Doug, you responded to this donor, y'all had a conversation. I can see those conversations and understand kind of where we are with that potential donor or prospect. So having a good understanding certainly might add some value to the organization. Some other examples might be just volunteer interest. So again, if I get an email that says, hey, I'm interested in volunteering, are you already tracking volunteer interest in IMIS? So again, if you get an email that's outside of IMIS or maybe somebody's, their profile, again, would it go along with your already current activities of tracking volunteer interest in IMUS. So again, this is somewhere where if you're getting an email with volunteer interest, that's not your real method, but you can go ahead and add that to IMUS in the normal way you're tracking volunteer interest. Others is just member assistance. So several of you said that you're already communicating and helping members. Again, you know, even coming down to kind of analysis of, do you want to know how often members are reaching out? Do you want to know what the typical requests are made? Is it resetting passwords? Is it, where do I go to find this? You know, what are those typical questions? Again, having that detail in IMUS might be beneficial of, do we need to update some instructions on a web page? Do we need to send an annual reminder? You know, making it easier to reset your password. All those things might help you identify some potential opportunities that otherwise might just be stuck in somebody's email box. And then last example is like committee updates. You know, this is the most commonly used thing. This is what I used even on the client side, is being able to send a quick email to a committee without having to build a distribution list or without having to go into IMUS and looking up every email address and copying it into the CC line. It's a quick, you know, 1 or 2 clicks to get those active committee members into IMUS or into Outlook from IMUS. Again, just tracking that correspondence and being able to see what your committee members have been provided, and again, what the communication has been. So again, these are just examples. That are certainly other processes that you probably do that, again, you're doing those things in Outlook. Not everybody's copied on those emails. It's kind of stuck in your inbox. If that information was in IMUS where others could see it, would it add value to the overall engagement with that member? So I think the next one, so I actually had a conversation with a client recently that, you know, they don't have my email today. And this was actually one of their comments, like, hey, I'm emailing members from Outlook, you know, like I normally do, responding to their requests. And then I need to go in an IMUS and like add a note that, hey, this member reached out for a blah, blah request. And the light bulb went on of like, oh, all those steps, you know, you have all that detail in the Outlook message and all that correspondence. And then we're taking another step to go to IMUS to add in a note, which is just saying, hey, this happened, but with no detail. With a click that JT is going to show you, you can add that right into IMUS in the same step as responding to that member in Outlook without having to do, again, those other steps that you may actually forget to do later on. So this was a great comment that I'm like, oh, I wish I actually invited them to the webinar so they may be on this call. But, you know, thinking about those little opportunities or looking at your team members to say, are they saying things like this? And could this product help them? So, all right,
Awesome.
back to you, JT.
Yes. So let's take a look at iEmail in action. So in this example, we have Michelle. She's interested in some sponsorship opportunities. Awesome. So when we go ahead, we want to capture this interaction with a prospect in IMUS. So we'll go ahead, we'll write out our email, and we're going to want to also include a link to the PDF to give her additional information. When we launch iEmail Cloud, we'll go to save this into IMUS to increase transparency. And we'll notice, ooh, Michelle is not in IMUS. So what we're going to do is we are actually going to we're going to add Michelle to IMUS, and you can include if they have the title, anything like that, you can put that in there if you want. And then we're going to save. So this is actually creating a brand new record in IMUS. And we'll notice there is her newly created record. Now we're going to save this as an activity. You can have whatever activity type you have in IMUS. In this case, we're just going to save it as a prospect activity type. We'll hit save as activity. We'll notice, hey, one activity has been saved. And just to take a look at what this looks like on the IMUS side of things, you can click that view profile, and it's actually going to jump you right over to her record in IMUS. And if we navigate over to the activity, we created a panel that is going to display that prospect interest. You'll notice there that it also brought in the actual email that we sent. So anyone in the organization can go to Michelle's record, see that, and open up that email in their own Outlook to respond. So that is kind of an example of how you can bridge the gap of not knowing what is happening in other people's inboxes for Outlook. If it's important, you want to really capture that into IMUS, so then it increases transparency. Now, this next one is another use case. Essentially, we get a brand new email from Brandy. She has an attachment in there. She's just sending over her resume. If this is important to capture in IMUS, we'll launch the iEmail Cloud add-in, and you'll notice it found Brandy's record. So it already matched it to an IMUS record. So we're going to save this as an interaction. And we'll notice right there, it tells you, hey, we saved it as an interaction. And we're also going to create a follow-up activity. The nice thing with activities is that you can actually edit and put notes in before you save it to IMUS. So here we're going to put a description. We're actually going to assign it to someone to follow up. And we're going to put a follow-up date of follow-up in, say, a week. So we'll go ahead, save that as an activity. And what it's going to do is it's going to save that onto the member's profile. And we'll get that notification as well there. Quickly jumping over, once again, utilizing that view profile. It's going to jump right over to Brandy's record. And we'll notice right there is the follow-up alert. And so Brian is logged in. He's going to see that follow-up alert. And if we scroll down, there's where the interaction is saved. So we get the body of the email, we get the attachment as well. And then just to show the follow-up activity, we have a panel that is going to display those follow-up activities. So when we scroll down, we'll notice there are the follow-ups. And once again, it has that description, any additional notes we wanted, as well as that attachment. So it really opens the doors into what you can do and what you can save to IMUS to increase transparency. And Elizabeth touched on it. It removes the mentality of the lost email. So you're able to save those important emails. And I know Doug and I have done a webinar in the past where he goes on vacation. The member reach out and says, hey, had conversations with Doug. I have no insights into what they discussed. With iEmail, that is a thing of the past. And I can see and pick up the conversation where Doug left off, which is just adding value to that member or donor who's reaching out.
So I started this talking about the original, his name was Steve Davidson, who said, I just spent all this money on this IMUS package and I can't even email from it. That's what it was like in the old days. So the good news is today we can actually email from IMUS. That's great. But you think about it right now, you all admitted most of you were in Outlook or had it open. So you're in Outlook, you got to leave Outlook, you got to jump over to IMUS, you got to fire up the committee windows, you got to find the committee. You're going to go do that. You need to put your from address in. If you have a template, great. Otherwise, you got to go and type the whole email you want and make up your own signature. You got to hit email. And when you're all said and done, you still haven't sent a calendar invite, right? I know that I get a lot of reminders from the IMUS users group about stuff they want me to do and places they want me to be. They don't send me an invite. I'm not going, right? You know why? If you've ever seen my inbox, and I know some of you on this call have seen, it's bad. So I need an invite. JT, let's do it.
Yes. So this one will actually jump into Outlook. So it's iEmail Cloud you can think of as if you are using Outlook yourself. So say we want to send over a Teams meeting for this Friday at 10. when we go in and have this window load, we can just say board meeting. And for everyone who is required, we'll launch that iEmail Cloud add-in. From here, we can select groups, select our committee, and there is our board of directors. So it's pulling everyone who is active on the roster. We're going to make them all required, select all, and there you'll notice all of them are now in that invite. So we could send a message saying the agenda, and we could save this. Or the real power is we can save this to Imus as an activity maybe. So we can have this be portrayed in Imus. So we can see, okay, these individuals received the invite, they were sent it. And if there were any issues, you can always resend it. So that's an easy way to, you once again, like Doug mentioned, and some of you said that you had Outlook open. You don't want to go back and forth between Outlook, Imus. You're already in Outlook, so why don't you stay in Outlook? This bridges the gap between Outlook and Imus and allows you to access Imus data and create this follow-up board meeting calendar invite with ease.
Thanks, JT. That was awesome. I'm in here making changes to the PowerPoint. So, you know, cut me some slack. All right. So, this was an interesting thing. We saw this the other day. Someone was bragging about how great their product was. It would save every email you sent. Holy cow. That's crappy. I mean, scary. Sorry. You don't want to save, as Elizabeth said, you need a plan when you're going to run this out. You don't need to save every email that you send or receive, right? That's just silly. You really want to be thinking about, you know, JT could have saved 2 activities on his first example. He could have saved the incoming and the outgoing, but why do that? He just hit reply and then saved both the original and the reply. So you want to use this with, you know, some due diligence, if you will. Another question we get is, hey, oh, I really want my executive director to use this product. She would love this. And I don't have an Imus license for her. Well, you do not need a Imus license to use iEmail. You do need to acquire the proper number of licenses, but every staff member that uses iEmail does not need an Imus license. And yes, you should give your executive director a license. At some point, you're going to need to trust them. You can limit security as well. It is done on a per user or security group basis. And what we didn't get into is you can use IQAs for your searches with prompts and all sorts of things. And the security can be limited down to the IQA level as well. This is not a mass email tool, right? You get to email about 500 people in one email before the Microsoft gods start to look down upon you in a ungrateful way. So you want to kind of limit this to not being a mass email. And this is not something I would want to replace Informs with or advanced email marketing. But you can send about 500 at a time. Well, all of these came in at once. Got to fix that in the next one. So can I send out conference notifications? Yeah, of course. If you've got a conference that has 150 people coming to it, you can go send out a little thing. Hey, don't forget, going to be cold in Houston next week. For our conference, love to see you. Opening sessions at 8:30. You can send out a nice personal email right from that. If you're using Outlook on the web or that new Outlook, it does work with it. It will have some limited functionality on the phone. You can add, this just came in the other day from the longest time user of Imus said, hey, Doug, I'm getting emails and they need to go on a company record as well as an individual record. The stuff JT showed can be added to multiple records. So you just hit find and you can choose one or more records. In the case of person emailing you from, say, their Gmail account, but you know they have a record in Imus, you can find them as well. So you do not have to have a perfect match on the email. And yes, it works with Imus 2017. And our most obvious question that we always get is, will this webinar be recorded? So JT, I went and added that. So there we go.
Yep. I thought you added some questions because my animations were messed up.
I will admit to, I'm pretty sure I broke the animations about 30 seconds ago, and I apologize.
No worries. All right. Well, that is iEmail Cloud, the integration between Outlook and IMUS. So now we're going to shift to a different member engagement channel, and this is going to be Text Manager. Text Manager allows you to easily and effectively communicate instantly with your members. So I like to say that the future of communicating is through texting. These are just some statistics that texting shows and shows the importance of. So it has a very high open rate. 98% of all messages are opened. 88% of people actually say they use texting. That's their main reason for using their mobile phones. And then talk about kind of engagement of 95% of text messages are actually read and acted on within the first 3 minutes. With iEmail and Text Manager, you're able to kind of allow you to engage with members from various, I guess, mediums. One thing with email is that, as you know, your inbox can get flooded with emails. It could get spam, and there's a bunch of filters where texting kind of just cuts through that noise. So it's really important to have a game plan, and I'll kind of have Elizabeth touch on kind of the rules of the road when thinking about Text Manager and just texting in general.
Yeah, I mean, just like we talked about with iEmail, I mean, having a good plan on how you're going to use this tool is very important. So, not just a plan on how you're going to use Text Manager, but what's your overall communication plan? What are our various touch points with members? So, if we're sending them mass emails, if we're sending them text messages, or putting alerts on their profile, or again, website messages, all of that should be part of your communication plan. So we want to make sure we're not, kind of overloading them with a lot of different methods of communication all at once. We want to be very careful in how we use each of those methods. So texting is one of those points, like JT said, is one of those that gets reaction right away. So it is a item that you want to use very carefully. So again, don't use it for every communication, right? Don't just use we're not going to email anymore. We're just going to text everybody. No. Using email when needed, those are good reference points, is obviously important, but text messages is those when you need a response. Those are things that you want them to see right away and be able to respond on. So again, I don't really want to hear from a membership organization every day on a text message. I will certainly on my iPhone choose that option of delete and mark as spam. So be careful with that because you don't want your members to write you off immediately. And then again, just knowing that that text message gets that immediate action. Again, it should be very crucial on timing, on when it goes out. As well as maybe it's delivered along with a follow-up email or a pre-email or something like that, because again, you don't want them to be irritated that they're texting you and be, willing to choose that unsubscribe option immediately. Because all of our messages, we want our members to have a choice with how we communicate with them. So again, being respectful of what we use each of those methods for is very important, and meeting them where they are. So again, have a plan before we start texting by everybody in our database. Make sure, again, you have a good plan that fits in your overall communication plan.
Yes. And this is where I kind of feel free to put in the chat. I'm going to go through examples of how organizations are using Text Manager, but feel free to put in the chat of things you are thinking of maybe texting your members or anything that you want to share of how you would utilize Text Manager in your organization. A lot of organizations are obviously being on a mobile device, making it as easy for people to pay outstanding invoices. They're sending in a text invoice payment links. So click here to pay your upcoming renewal, and it's done. They don't have to get an email. You don't have to do follow-ups, anything like that. Another big one is around event promotions and things like that. So if you have early bird cutoff, so someone went to the conference last year, they didn't register for this year's, let's go ahead and say, hey, quick reminder, early bird pricing's ending soon. Click here to register for an event. Once again, here's another option where after they register for an event, maybe we want to send them a text with some additional information, or maybe a link to the agenda or the web page, anything like that. Promotion codes. So this is great for if someone joins the organization and you want to offer them a promo code and you want to text them. Or on the other hand, if they haven't engaged with the organization in the last 6 months or whatever frequency, let's try to get them back into being an engaged member, and let's offer a small promotion code for them to use. Donation links is a big one. So if you have donation pages and things like that, send them a link saying, hey, please give to our foundation or our organization. Click here to learn more. Profile review. So this is making sure that the information we have in IMIS for a given member or donor is up to date. So we want to make sure they're going in, they're updating anything that needs to be updated. And so let's just send them a text reminder saying, hey, let's go ahead, jump into your profile, and please make the appropriate updates. Upcoming deadlines is a big one. So this is where if you have a deadline for certain things, you can shoot a quick text message to people who haven't met that deadline yet. And then this one is a powerful one, actually being able to unlock accounts. So you can send a text message saying, hey, you have been locked out. Use this link to go ahead and say forgot password, or to unlock your account actually and try again. So lots of cool things that you can do. And I'm going to just jump into Text Manager and show you what it looks like. So when we go into Text Manager, we'll just create a simple campaign. We'll do a one-time campaign, but you do see you can do a recurring campaign. Some organizations in the past have wanted to send, say, a birthday text to members. So every day it would run. If it's someone's birthday, it would send just a nice message to that individual. We'll go one-time campaign, and we're going to use that early bird pricing. So we'll just do early bird pricing. You could do a status email if you wanted to. And everything is driven through an IQA query that you create in IMIS. So that's going to be your target audience of how to select who gets this text message. So we'll go ahead. We will scroll and find the IQA we want. Last year's registrants. And that is because I did not check the security thing. But if you would and I'll just do it now. Love to do a live demo.
This is a very important
actually
thing.
great
for
example.
It's a great example.
So yes, a recent enhancement to IQAs and things like that. If you use any CSI solutions and they use IQAs, you'll always want to have this checked.
And this is EMS only.
Yes. So let's go ahead and see if. Oh, geez. Okay.
I said, JT, you can record this one? No, I'm going to do it live, he said.
Yeah. Okay. Well, This,
Again, great example.
yeah,
Great
so
example. Yeah, Fix It Live. Oh wow, the attendees just dropped by 12. Uh,
yes, so this is obviously, I think I'm going to record this now, but this is, you would just load your IQA. And the nice thing with your IQA is that you can use any of the columns in your IQA as merge fields. So I'll just go ahead, I'll just run this IQA. So in here, you'll see there's one returned row of data, but all of these columns you can actually use in the body of the text message. So you could say, hi, JT. You can make it personalized. You can add IMUS data. If you wanted to say, hey, your renewal's coming up, uh, please, your paid through dates blank, you can easily do that. And then we're always talking about transparency. So this is where we can actually write back either as an activity or as an interaction to increase that transparency on the IMUS front. So anyone can go into IMUS and onto that individual's record and see that they actually received a text message. And then the last thing is going to be actually scheduling the campaign to run. That is a high-level overview of really using Outlook and a texting platform to enhance your engagements with members and donors or even prospects as well. So want to pause. Any questions, or have you thought about any new ideas of how you can use iEmail or Text Manager?
Got one in the chat from Allison. Foundation Day of Giving. So a lot of our clients at CSR are fraternal clients. The Day of Giving is a big day, right? Where they reach out to their members and previous donors and they want to remind them. I will tell you that all the requests for Day of Giving that I get, and I get them all from our clients, they unfortunately, they tend to go to my junk mail. So when I do get a receipt, text, and I will tell you that often it comes from Elizabeth sometimes too, who will remind me at 10 at night, don't forget, I'm a Chi Omega and today's their Day of Giving and you only have 2 hours left. So that's another great thing to do, to go ahead and send out these texts for Day of Giving. You know, you are a, you know, you're past donor or whatever. Like I said, our clients are fraternal, but many of our other clients that use this are not fraternal. So a lot of associations will do a giving, you know, there's Giving Day coming up. What's the official term for that? I forget. Day after Thanksgiving, right? Day of Giving. Yes, great. So these are great things to, you know, basically, as we've talked about, Giving Tuesday. Great. That's the day. Yeah, whatever. I know it's coming up. Thanks, everyone. And a great way to go ahead and let people know. JTL said early bird registration. Nothing bothers me more than when I miss registration by 2 days and it's costing me an extra 200, especially when I'm sending 3 people from CSI to the conference. I was the one that was supposed to be registering. So these are texts that tend to make people happy. The texts that don't make people happy are, you know, hey, haven't seen you in 2 days. Here's a discount code, right? We want to, as Elizabeth said, have a plan. Make sure there's 1 or 2 people in charge of these things, so it's not a million people blasting out. So, Rachel's cracking me up. All right, there we go. Any other ideas besides Giving Tuesday? Yes, I know. Cyber Monday. That's it. Well, also after Thanksgiving, right? Yeah. You could use it for Cyber Monday. Genius. All right, JT, better get us going here.
Yes. If you do have any other questions or comments, feel free to use the chat or Q&A. But if you license any CSI solutions, our support is included. So you can always reach out to support@csiinc.com if you're running into any issues or you have any. I am wanting to accomplish this task, how would I go about doing it? We can always help you out there. If you saw something on this webinar, either with email or text manager, and you're like, yes, I want a personalized demo, I want to learn more, you can always reach out to sales@csiinc.com and I can get you that information that you need. Important links. So all of our documentation can be accessed here, docs.csiinc.com. And what this is doing, it's all public. So you can go in, you can click email cloud, you could click text manager. So anything like that. And then don't forget, we do have a listserv. So with our listserv, we want this to be a collaborative group where organizations can bounce ideas off of one another, see how other organizations are using the product. And so you can always join our listserv by going to csi.ms/listserv. Doug, do you want to touch on question? The can text be?
Oh,
used
I
for one?
did. Yeah. So there was a question to host and panelists about can text be used for one-time passcodes? If you can get a hold of the passcode, you can use it for anything. But what we showed at the Innovations Conference was the ability to let a user via Rise using the IMAS Data Management Suite reclaim their account. So if you have a cell number on file for someone, they can go ahead and say, hey, I'm not at ABC Inc. anymore. Please reset my login. You can go ahead and create a new user for them and a new password, send them a link to reset their password on their cell number, giving them their new username. So this can be used for helping people who have locked themselves out and need to get in as well. And they don't have the old email address, so they can't reset. So as long as you have the cell number, I like to say that our cell number is our new Social Security number. I know that sounds scary, but for you older folks on the phone like me, Social Security was how you identified yourself in the past, right? It was your unique number in the world. And then all of a sudden it became very bad. Well, think about how many different cell phone numbers you've had in your life. And the fact is, you get to keep your cell phone. So that's sort of our unique number. Most people don't switch cell phones very often. I love that because if you start getting cell phones from your members, donors, even prospects, that's their unique number. And you can use it for password resets. You can use it for texting, all sorts of fun things.
Awesome. Well, it doesn't appear like there are any other questions or anything else in the chat. So if you do have any questions or anything like that following this webinar, you can always reach out to us at the sales@csiinc.com email. But with that, I hope everyone on this call has a great rest of their day and a great week.
And if you want to see JT do this again, we're doing it again in what, 7 hours, 6 hours?
7 hours.
7 hours for the.
Or
But
no.
you'll get the recording for free. So
Yes.
Fine. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.